The show begins 1 year later, and we come across Ryan Hardy, and his life has changed. He's actually found some hope, and his heart's improved. He started taking care of himself. He quit drinking. He's been exercising. He's on, he goes to the cardiologist. He's had his heart device tweaked, and it's amazing. His heart has bounced back, and it just took a little love, and now he's also gotten a job teaching. He teaches criminology at the university in New York City, and he's living the life. He's actually trying to put the pieces back together, and he's doing a great job. One of the things we come to learn is that Ryan does have a secret. Ryan isn't as sort of recovered, or he hasn't sort of completely turned a new page in his life. There is some suspicion that perhaps Joe Carroll is still in fact alive. And while everyone else has put it to bed, everyone else thinks he's dead, everyone else has confirmed it through DNA, he of course has sort of been doing his own research, and he has sort of found a way that he believes that maybe there is a crazy theory here, but it's just as crazy as anything that happened last year, and the FBI was so behind the ball last year, perhaps Joe Carroll did sort of figure out a way to prove his death, to fake his death. What's really interesting about Ryan this year is he's not working within the parameters of the law, and he can now work on Joe Carroll's terms, and he's leveled the playing field, and this is where it gets a little gray for Ryan Hardy. He's not really doing the right things. He actually, he basically in the second episode set, as much as he cares about people, he actually makes a wrong move. You see how dark he's getting, and he actually puts some people's lives in jeopardy just in the hopes of learning if Joe Carroll is alive or not. That's sort of how his judgment gets a little clouded through this season, and it puts him in sort of a very dark area. It puts him in the gray area of life, and that's the fun of Ryan Hardy this year. Mike Weston and Ryan Hardy is sort of, their relationship is something we deal with throughout the entire season. It's like I sort of really liked their chemistry last year, and I thought this whole sort of teacher-student relationship they have, I think, Ryan sees himself in Mike. I think Mike sees himself in Ryan, and, for better or for worse. And I think one of the fun relationships is everything that happened last year had an effect on Mike Weston, and there is some trauma that he's suffering from when we start the season. We have a new character in Max Hardy, and she is Ryan's niece. As we learned last year, Ryan's older brother died in 9/11. He was a fireman, which, the Hardys are a family of service. So we meet Max this year, and she, of course, is a detective with the NYPD, and she works in the intel unit. Max has sort of been his little accomplice, and Max has sort of been his ally in the research for, searching for Joe Carroll. It's kind of like in her spare time, she comes home and helps him sort of dig up information on Joe Carroll and his followers. And she sort of sees that as a way to bond, and she thinks it's a hobby in a weird way. It's sort of the Hardy hobby. Lily Gray breaks onto the scene this season as the potential love interest for Ryan. Not to give too much away, but in the opening episode, she becomes she's introduced. She's a victim. She was the only surviving victim in the murder spree. And we kind of have set up, we know what happens with victims in Ryan Hardy. He over-identifies with the victim. He sort of sees them as, the surviving member to him sort of is that conduit to all the others that were killed. And so as we sort of witness in the first episode, he goes to her and he apologizes. Because the murders happen sort of because of Ryan and Joe Carroll and everything that's come before. And, she's the only one he can apologize to. She's the only surviving member, and it's sort of tragic the way he feels the need to apologize to her. And he goes to her, and they have this sort of connection. Well, Sam Underwood comes, it's no surprise that he's sort of a villain this year, and he joins the show as, right off the top, we know he's not good news. He's sort of a bad guy, but we just don't know who he is, and to how bad is he, and to what extent will he go to accomplish what he's doing, and what is he trying to do? And that's sort of all the mystery of the first few episodes, and sort of the fun as Ryan Hardy sort of figures it all out. We've sort of redefined the show, whereas last year it was sort of this FBI hunt for a cult of serial killers. This year it's a story, it's a relationship thriller. It's a story of a man and a story of survival, of redemption, of retribution, of hope, and it's sort of just all of those themes are sort of told in sort of the darkest way possible. I mean, the one way to truly see hope is to put someone through the worst possible situation and see if they can sort of come out the other side. And if they do come out the other side, what did they lose along the way? And what did they gain along the way? And that's sort of the story of the second season.